Now I could spit to you for about a week about how terrible this game is, but you gotta take the good with the bad. It's not just black and white, it's a world of color, you know what I mean? So let's talk about some of the good. The characters. The characters in this game are really cool. Alright, there's a lot of cool cosmetics, designs, there's a lot of cool gameplay stuff going on, there's a lot of moving parts within each character, there's a lot of skill expression you can do with these characters. And I don't really think any of them are inherently terrible, alright? Some of the characters, yeah, they're definitely worse than other ones, but you can pretty much climb playing any character. And a lot of characters have really cool team-ups and synergies. Not just team-ups, but also just like, you know, actual synergies. They're actually good with each other, you know what I mean? A lot of characters enable other characters to just be better. Another great thing about this game is the devs talk, alright? They don't, you know, they don't do every change that the community wants, but at least they do these dev insight things. They talk about like what they think the game is gonna, what it should look like, what it is right now, a lot of that stuff. So that's really cool because a lot of games don't do that. Matter of fact, pretty much, you know, no other game does that. At least to the level that Rivals does. And, you know, to be fair, Rivals, they could be better at communication, but they, you know, they do a pretty good job for what it is. The devs do an update pretty much every week on just like, you know, maybe they just drop a skin or something, but they also do a lot of bug fixes, and, you know, small patch notes, things like that. So that's really cool. And the art in this game, I don't know. I don't think anyone's complaining about the art, alright? The art is just objectively good. If you've seen, a lot of the like concept art for a lot of the characters are really cool. Concept art for the skins are pretty awesome. So a lot of good stuff in the art. But that's pretty much all the good that I really would want to talk about. A lot of it is just bad. I've only been talking for less than 2 minutes, so there's a lot of bad. Now the bad is the balance philosophy, alright? I don't like the balance philosophy in Rivals. I think this is their biggest problem, is that they have a terrible balancing system. I like some of the balance choices are good, alright? Don't get me wrong, they are good. But you can't accept the good without the bad, right? There are a lot of bad balance choices. Hela and Luna, biggest examples. Characters that were just so damn good and then just never got changes. They were just too fucking good and they were at the top of the meta and they kept getting buffs. It doesn't make sense. Why is this character already the best in the game and it's getting buffs? Why? More recent additions to the best category, Phoenix, Human Torch. Human Torch barely got nerfed. Phoenix literally hasn't got nerfed. Right, there's a lot of examples of this that I can just keep going on, right? And even in the most recent balance patch, I think this most recent one is probably one of the better ones, alright? They address a lot of the bad stuff. You know, Emma's getting more nerfs, that's good. She kind of needs them. But Torch didn't get nerfed. Phoenix didn't get nerfed. I don't really know why. Are already good character, got another buff. Now his punch thing earthbounds people, which is like why are they buffing? Why are they giving him this ability? I don't know. He's not bad, alright? Bucky's not a bad character. He's arguably, like, very good, alright? This character's not in any way, shape, or form bad. But they gave him a buff. Don't know why. Psylocke, character's very good. Actually got a nerf. That's good, right? But I think overall, this balance patch was pretty decent, alright? There's a lot of good changes to make certain characters a little bit more viable outside of certain situations, right? Like Ultron, he got a very small buff. He does more damage to overhealth, right? That's kind of like a weird buff, you know, but it's a small one because they know he's not terrible, but you know they want to see him do a little bit better outside of like 3 supports and Human Torch comps, right? They started to shift Invis-Woman a little bit. They gave her ult a few buffs, right? I think that's good because her ult was obviously one of the weaker ones. She could die really easily out of it, pretty much. I mean, even if you just like had a few people shooting at her inside her ult, she would just die, right? And that's obviously a problem when her ult doesn't really provide that much else utility. I mean, there is some, you know, niche scenarios, but that's just how it is, you know. It's just not as good. Now, I think the biggest fuck up in terms of balancing from the Rivals team is probably reworks, all right? Because they had a few reworks to. I would say it's a rework to Jeff. I would say it's a rework sort of to Thor. Those two were terrible, alright? Those changes to Thor and Jeff in the past seasons were terrible. They made Jeff kind of weird. I don't know, like, he already had an identity, a character identity, which was sort of like support DPS hybrid. Now he's just basically just a support. Thor had an identity, and then, you know, they got rid of it. They got rid of his hammer throw, basically, which is really weird. And, you know, even if he's not bad now, even if Jeff's not bad now, they changed the characters, you know, they changed how they work fundamentally, and it's just really weird. Like, why? I don't know. Like, they really didn't need it. Alright, there were a lot of ways to do it without having to do that. And then there's characters that actually do need reworks. Alright, Panther, I think, needs a rework. I don't think he's healthy for the game. He has a combo that just is very hard to react to people who are in, you know, lower elos, just can't react to his combos. They think he's broken. This yada yada yada. Alright, you get the idea. It's been said over and over again. I think he needs a rework, you know? But instead of reworking him, they just kind of give him these soft nerfs, and then, you know, this and I don't know, like, it just, he's always going to be this sort of really, you know, very easy ban for a lot of people just because he's so annoying to deal with. But there are also a lot of good examples of reworks, you know. I don't know if I call them reworks, but just like sort of large character changes. Like Thing being able to jump to enemies is really cool. It makes him a lot better. It gives him a lot more versatility. It does a lot for him, you know. The Mantis changes, I think those were also good. Changing her healing to percentage based, I think is a good change. The Atom res, his ult change, I think that's also a great change. So there's a lot of good, alright? There's a lot of good, but the bad obviously stands out a lot more. Now, something else that a lot of people have touched on is the disparity between tanks, support, and DPS. Just the amount of characters in each role, right? They keep releasing DPS characters, and there's just a lot more than every other role. And, you know, obviously they planned ahead. They didn't know that dropping 2 DPS characters wasn't good. They probably should have thought about that, but it was planned ahead, you know, probably a year in advance. So there's not much they can really do to change that. But that is inherently a problem. Hopefully they will drop more supports and tanks in the future, and hopefully less DPS characters. But seeing Angela, that's a flying tank, that's really cool. There's a lot of innovation there, a lot of different stuff. You don't see flying tanks in most of these, you know, team shooter games. And Daredevil, not sure how he's going to work. He's probably going to be a DPS, but if he's a strategist, that would be really cool, because we need more of those anyways. But on the note of new characters, I do want to talk about Blade, because a lot of people have said Blade is terrible, and that he needs more buffs, and I disagree. I think Blade is, I don't think he's one of the best DPS, but I do think he's really good. I don't think he's bad. I think he's like an A, B tier type of hero. He does a lot of damage. His utility is through that anti-heal. His ult, very strong if used correctly. Lifesteal, really cool, kind of niche. You have to find certain scenarios for it. But he has really good survivability, he's great mobility, he's a lot going for him, and he has a parry. I don't think this character is bad. But a lot of people do, because, you know, for good reason. A lot of people really stink at this character. And he does have a little bit of a skill gap on him. He has a little bit of a curve. It's not as easy to pick him up as someone like Human Torch, for example. So, as someone that plays Human Torch and Blade, I think Human Torch needs a nerf. I think Blade is honestly fine where he is. I do like the small buff that they gave him, though, because I did get scared that they would turbo buff him, you know, give him some crazy shit, but they just increased his sword damage by like 2. You know, that's kind of like it's a nice buff. It's nothing to complain about. So I'm glad that the Rivals team also is keeping up and knows that Blade is good. All right, Blade is not bad. But that's most of the meat and potatoes that I wanted to get through. Let's get to the big guy now, matchmaking. All right, matchmaking in this game. No surprise. I mean, everyone complains about it in every game, so it's kind of just it's just sort of a thing in any ranked game. But the matchmaking in this game feels exorbitantly terrible. I don't know if I'm using that word right, but it just feels really bad. Like it's just incomparably bad to any other game I've played. You'll get games where people just are throwing, and everyone is so angry in this community that even if you mute everyone, you're still gonna get people that just complain, you know, even if they're just typing in chat or whatever. You can obviously just ignore them and, you know, save your peace of mind, but they're still going to throw your game, so it, you know, not that much really changes. But I do think there is an argument to be made that the matchmaking isn't as bad as people say, and I definitely don't think it's as bad as people are claiming it to be. I think it's bad, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's like life-changingly, you know, terrible or anything. Great example is a lot of games will start out, you'll just lose the first round, alright? 0 and 100. 0 to 0. 1 to 0? 0 to 0? I don't know. But you'll just lose the first round, alright? You'll get fucking trashed the first round. You get shoved in a locker, alright? Your entire team gets shoved in a locker. And then the second round, you guys win 100-0. You shove them in a locker. Now you're the bad guy, right? And it's just such a weird thing, because you'll get shit on the first round, and then you're the one shitting on them the next round. It's such a bizarre thing. And I feel like it's just sort of the nature of this game that people will just, sometimes they'll just figure it out or something. Just something clicks within the team, and then suddenly everyone's doing better. But undoubtedly there is something going on with the matchmaking. There is something wrong, alright? There's just so many people complaining about it, that there's no way that there's not something going on. What really sucks is that as a community, there's realistically not that much we can do other than just give feedback to the devs about what we think. And clearly that's been done, whether it's good or bad feedback, it's been given. So, yeah, you know, there's not that much we can do other than just hoping that the devs will listen to us, maybe give us an update like, hey, we're going to change the matchmaking, hey, this is going to change, that's going to change. Because otherwise, I'm not really sure what there is to do other than just play a different game. And that really sucks, you know, because I really do like this game. I like a lot of things about this game. I like Marvel. It's pretty cool. You know, I'm not like a huge comic nerd or anything, but I think it's, I don't know, I just like this game. I think it's really cool. It just sucks that I don't know, it's not necessarily ruined by the matchmaking, but I think it definitely does take a lot of hits from it. Matchmaking definitely doesn't shine this game in a great light, but I don't know, don't take it from me, you know, find your own experience and decide for yourself. That's really what you should do. New opinion did not just drop, so don't just watch like a Necros video or something. You know, at least decide for yourself, because that's really what you should do. But it's also been said from many other sources in higher ranks, people that are way more credible than I am, that even at higher ranks, it's you know, the matchmaking is also a problem, but there's also some other things going on behind the scenes. Won't say too much because I'm really not that informed. I don't want to spread any misinformation, but you know, there's more going on under the hood of this game, and you could say it's because of the players, I guess. I don't know. But speaking of players, the community of this game is another, I guess I would say, pain point, because there's a lot of, I don't know, just a lot of people that play this game, and you know, you hop into ranked and they'll just yell at you. Like, you could literally be winning a game and people will still be mad at you. There's I don't know, there's a certain type of hatred in this game. It's I like to call it raw hatred, because it's just, people are just angry, like they're genuinely angry, you know? Like, you play Call of Duty, there's people on that game that be trolling, they just be saying stuff, you know? But for the most part, they're not like actually trying to, you know, hurt your feelings or anything. People be trying to do that in this game, bro. Marvel Rivals, people be trying to hurt your feelings. They be trying to make you feel a certain type of way. Like, it is not a safe space, some would say. But there's also a lot of good in the community, you know? It's not just bad people in the community. There's a lot of good, like, community tournaments, a lot of really cool content creators that make a lot of great content, you know? So it's not like Necros is the only person making content. Not that Necros makes bad content, you know? But a lot of people just sort of point at Necros and say, and act like he's, I don't know, the only content creator or something. But there's a lot of great people, content creators on this game that make great content, you know? Informative content, top rank content, really just anything, funny content. So there's really the whole 9 yards, but a lot of them are starting to leave, you know? Like a while ago, Ninja left, Tim the Tatman, I don't know if he like specifically left, but I know he like kind of stopped playing a little bit. And, you know, multitude of reasons, you can look at why they left. You know, I'm not going to tell you why, because I'm not them. What would I know? You know, so, but I'm just saying, if things don't start to change, you know, they can keep releasing new characters, they can keep making new seasons, and you know, the new characters are cool, and maybe I'll play, and maybe other people will play for those, for the start of the season, just to try out, like, whatever's new and whatever, you know, whatever. Jesus Christ, I need to find a new word to say. But, you know, unless they change the core aspects of the game, I really don't know how long Rivals will last. I don't think it'll ever die, per se. Like, it'll always have players. It's not even in that bad of a spot right now, to be honest. It's got, like, what, 70,000 on Steam active? And that's just on Steam, right? There's other platforms, so. But being realistic, I mean, this game's definitely not going to be gaining new players anytime soon in the state that it's in right now. It's just in a really bad state, let's be real. The only real new content is just characters and maps, and I feel like, I don't know, it feels like that should work, but it really just isn't in the state that it's in. And yeah, I mean, I've already listed why for the other 14 minutes of this video so far, so I'm not going to try and repeat myself, but I'm starting to rant a little bit, so you know, we're rambling a little. Something else I wanted to talk about was ranked rewards. I probably should have talked about it earlier, because it's kind of a big thing, pretty important, but you know, I'm kind of just talking into the mic right now, just spitballing, so here it is, you know. But ranked rewards in this game, not amazing, you know. I don't really have, there's not a real reason for you to grind ranked other than just to be like, oh, I'm this and that, good at this game. I have a screenshot. I have a little emblem at the top of my name tag that says I'm good at the game or something. There's really no reason for you to grind ranked, alright? The ranked skins you can just hit gold for, and they don't really look all that either, if we're being real. No offense to the people that designed those, but they're just recolors, right? And sometimes the colors don't match very well. The emblems are a new thing. They're kind of cool. I'm glad that they're adding stuff to the ranked rewards. They realize that they probably do need to do that. But emblems, I don't know. The emblem borders are just kind of alright. I don't love them. I don't hate them. But I think there needs to be more still. I think like a progressive skin based on how good you are at the game. Like, I don't know. Say like instead of the recolor skins, you get a blade skin that has some sort of cool glow if you hit, I don't know, top 500, like it glows red or something, or I don't know, some type of skin like that, because there's just no real reason for you to grind ranked right now, especially since it's not even fun to play ranked, you know, because the matchmaking just fucks you over sometimes. You get people that are just super angry at you, so even if you're winning games, you're still getting chewed out, you know, like if you're not acing, you're just terrible. I mean, there's so much more I could say. But it's just, you know, I can only talk so much about the same thing over and over again. I say that, but I've been talking for like, you know, however long about the same thing over and over again. So, I mean, maybe that's not true. Maybe it is. But point being, game definitely needs some sort of thing that makes you want to grind rank. Because the state it's in right now, it's just, there's no reason for you to really grind it. But yeah, that's basically all I have to really say. There's a little bit of gameplay left, but I mean, one of their guys left on their team, so it was basically just a wash from here. Yeah, I don't really know. Rivals is just in a really bad state right now, in my opinion. Some people might say otherwise, but I just don't think Rivals is in a good state right now where I don't even want to play Rivals, you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just find another game. And there's so many other games to play right now, you know? So, yeah, that's really all I gotta say. Hope you're having a good day. Let me know if you like this. Let me know if you don't. I've been doing a lot of ranting. I mean, I made 2 videos ranting, and one of them did really good, so we'll see how this one does. But, yeah, let me know what you want to see from this channel, because I really don't know what to put out anymore, especially, you know, I'm not really grinding Rivals like that anymore, so there's not that much for me to upload. But, I mean, Rivals is pretty cool. Still, I'm not really sure, though. Kind of conflicted, not sure what to do, so yeah, just spitball me something. I don't know. Say hi. If you watch this far, you might as well, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Anyways, hope you're having a good day. Hope you have a great week. I'll catch you later.